Let's learn how to take care of the Miltonia orchid. More of an uncommon orchid to find, at least available at your local grocery store. Kind of more of a collector orchid, but still a very easy to grow orchid. So let's get into it. As with all orchids, they need very bright light, especially in order to flower. Okay, so you're going to want to give this plant a nice wide view of the sky. I recommend a south-facing window, a west-facing window, or an east-facing window. Now, amongst those three exposures, I want you to choose the one that has the widest, most unobstructed view of the sky. These plants need very bright light in order to flower. When it comes to watering, you're going to want to let these dry out almost completely in between watering, about 75%. Once they've reached that, you want to give them a full and thorough soak, making sure that the water is coming out of the drainage holes several times. Now, these plants are a little bit susceptible to salt buildup, mineral buildup from tap water, so if you're using tap water, make sure to flush them out with a more purified water like distilled water, reverse osmosis water, rainwater if you've got it. Make sure to flush them out about every 3 to 4 waterings, just so none of that mineral buildup happens within the roots, because you don't want your plant to decline from the mineral buildup. As far as fertilizing goes, we do a well-balanced, liquid-soluble fertilizer for these orchids, something like a 20-20-20. You can dilute that as we approach the more gloomy months of the winter months. You don't need to fertilize quite as heavily. As always with orchids, we don't want to fertilize while they are in spike. You're going to want to repot these orchids every year. Now, it doesn't always mean that you're going to be going up in size. You only want to be going up in size if the roots are coming out of the bottom drainage holes, but you want to be refreshing the medium. So take the plant out every year, take off all the old soil, all the old medium, the old orchid bark, the old moss, whatever you have in there, and replace it with some fresh stuff. Again, because these orchids are very susceptible to mineral buildup, so we're trying to avoid that with repotting every year. If you can increase the humidity, that's fantastic. They do adjust to average household humidity, but as always, upping that humidity is fantastic. You'll know if your watering or your humidity is too low or too infrequent if you start getting wrinkles along your leaves right here. That's a good indication that things are just a little bit too dry for these babies. As far as soil goes, use a general purpose like orchid mix, something that's very chunky, something that's going to drain very, very quickly. I like to use orchid bark, or maybe like 3 parts orchid bark to 1 part long fiber sphagnum moss. You can mix some perlite in there as well. You want a standard mix that's going to be draining very quickly and providing a lot of airflow down to the roots. But that's going to do it for the care instructions for the Miltonia orchids. If you have any questions or some tips of your own, please leave them in the comments below.